So we went through Glass Onion's entire wardrobe and found costumes that were tied with hidden meanings, gorgeous vintage fabrics, and peculiar wardrobe pieces that give away major film secrets.
Wow.
So like our girl, the leading lady Janelle Monae, for example, it was so crucial to be able to run for her. That's why her entire outfit was built, you guessed it, all around her shoes. You know the ones, her Valentino flats.
You come here in your Gucci flats telling us Valentino.
And then everything else, her suits, the accessories, it all came after the shoes. And Helen's sophisticated suits and super elegant dresses were not actually designed for Helen at all, but for her twin sister, Andi. And if you put these two sisters side by side, you'd see that they're like radically different from each other. So as you know, during nearly the entire movie, Helen pretended to be Andi. And that's why the idea of Helen would have gotten to Andi's closet and taken her clothes was heavily incorporated into her costume design. To highlight their differences, they did subtler nods, you know, with makeup and nail color and such. Now, while that was a cool experience, it must have been so much fun designing looks for Birdie. With the bold prints and the bright colors and the jewelry, her floor-length gown is designed to be a visual effect within itself. Like that moment when the director, Rian Johnson, asks her to spin and all these rainbow colors just come to life. Oh, it's awesome.
It almost is like an illusion. It's almost like a visual effect in and of itself.
Okay, and another interesting fact here, Birdie's entire wardrobe was handmade, except for her bikini. Of course, we had to figure out where this bikini was from. It's the Andrea Ayama Moulin Orange bikini. Kate Hudson wanted to look flawless, and so she would just eat cucumber and feta and didn't touch her Aperol spritz till after her bikini scene. And on the very other end of the spectrum, there's Claire. Her entire wardrobe was just a rack of beige. Because, you know, we all think of politicians and think beige. Well, in the script, they actually used the words politician beige to describe her wardrobe.
I said I wanted to be the sad trumpet noise of costumes in this movie.
She thought she was going to get some glamorous, exciting costumes for Claire, but that definitely was not the case. And like, this movie is so specific that Claire's character translates even in the way she wears her mask. As a politician, part of that is she needs to show her face to voters. So there's a lot of on and off with her mask while she still tries to be mindful of the pandemic rules.
She's very conscious of the mask etiquette.
Does the way you wear a mask say something about you? Like Birdie. In the beginning of the movie, she's throwing this wild pandemic party, so there's no surprise that she's wearing a glamorous lace mask that's almost like a jewelry piece.
We can't hug, right?
This girl is social distancing in style, and Lionel, the scientist who has not only one, but two K95s.
Oh, you
Lionel
were masked.
double
up.
mask.
Speaking of Lionel, did you notice the wishbone pin on his lapel? So the actor who plays him, Leslie Odom Jr., actually found that in a thrift store in Connecticut. And so Jenny took that and had a few identical pieces made for the film. The wishbone symbolizes luck and adventure, which is obviously a reference to the movie's plot. And there's also this practicality to Lionel that's shown in a scene by the pool.
That shirt is the same shirt that I wear under the suit.
While other outfits were not so practical. And we couldn't not talk about Duke's Speedo. When Jenny was designing his poolside outfit, that was the first costume piece that came to mind. Everything else, the holster, the beach wrap, the Crocs, all came after. Poor Dave Bautista was so embarrassed in this little outfit. He couldn't disguise anything in that Speedo. I'm blushing now thinking about it. I feel like I've worn less. I wrestled in front of millions of people wearing just a little. But for some reason, I just was really self-conscious about this damn Speedo. And before we jump ship on the poolside outfits, you may have noticed Daniel Craig's costumes were the only ones not caught up to the present day. Craig sports a modest, much more modest than Duke's Speedo, blue and white striped matching set, surrounded by other bikinis and Speedos. It's very much his character, a detective stuck in the past, trying to decipher the meaning of the cases that continue to haunt him. And his outfit in the arrival scene is very particular too, and almost a little on the nose of Jacques Tati and Cary Grant from To Catch a Thief. When Daniel had a chat with director Rian Johnson,
I saw the high-waisted pants, and I'm like, is that little Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief?
back in the 1920s, up until the 1950s, high-waisted pants were pretty much the norm for men's everyday wear. So just like high-waisted pants, linen is in. Costume designer Jenny Eagan gave Miles a ton of linen, cashmere, and some natural fibers to keep him grounded in reality. This is actually because he's a fraud. He's using these grounding fibers to mask what he really is.
I mean, Greece. You know, there's no reality there at all.
Okay, like when he's on the beach playing the guitar, looking like the holistic guru of healing. Such a contrast to his actual character that's not natural at all. He's trying so hard to look like something he's not, even down to the very fabric of his costume. Jenny's seeded clues everywhere. She's added unexpected layers to enrich the story, and they're so easily overlooked if you're not paying good attention. Glass Onion was mostly shot in Greece, and it was hot, very hot. This plays a huge factor in the way the actors were dressed. And you might be surprised to find out that one of Janelle Monae's most chic outfits is actually a swimsuit in disguise.
It's a swimming suit, but it's belted, and I just love this fabric so much.
Jenny Eagan had to be mindful of the fabrics they used because the temperature in Greece at that time was absolutely scorching when they filmed. That was the exact thinking behind this outfit.
I think that was the most difficult thing, was shooting outside when it was that hot.
Now, would you have noticed otherwise that it was a swimsuit? The costume designers of the film sort of made it their mission statement to support mom and pop shops on Etsy after Chris Evans' sweater went viral in the last film. Soon, Etsy shops left and right were selling out of similar sweater designs. And honestly, we find that so wholesome. Oh, and we found Detective Blanc's neck scarf in case you wanted to emulate his iconic style. They're just these small local people that make these beautiful bandanas. Okay, but there was one that wasn't from an Etsy shop, and that was the one from the dinner scene at the end. It was handmade from vintage silk. We guess we can forgive them for the one. We're changing gears entirely here. Like, can we say festival girl? That was the major inspiration behind Whiskey's sassy look, and it all started with a fringe bag and a pair of boots. The actor, Madelyn Cline, was in a fitting with Jenny and took note of the two pieces like right away. Oh, this girl has not moved on from 2014 or 15. She's stayed in her 2015 Coachella era and has never left. Whiskey's cutout tops, crochet, and fringe tells us from the beginning that she's young. At least younger than everyone else, and she's more focused on her looks. Also, did you notice Birdie's subtle reaction to Whiskey's presence by the pool?
We've been conditioned to say, oh, look at the younger, fitter version of what I used to be.
That was Kate Hudson's discreet way of highlighting the tense dynamic between the two characters.
I thought it was quite interesting the way Kate played that. It was really spot on.
All right, and we're gonna circle back to Detective Blanc real quick. He wakes up and puts on a pristine white shirt, suit, tie, the works. Why? Do you think there's a sort of psychology behind that?
Which is about being prepared, being armored, being ready to go. He's a detective agency.
Is it because he's prepared, or is there something more sinister behind it?
He's ready, or he's a psychopath.
Yeah, always a psychopath.
One or the other.
And we may never know.
So, did you enjoy the hidden meanings and little Easter eggs Jenny Eagan hid throughout the film? With Glass Onion's handmade costumes, the vintage fabrics, and the nods to classic movies, it's really hard not to analyze every single piece of clothing. But which outfit was your favorite?